Welcome to the future of real estate. I'm Brett Ellis of the Ellis team at RE/MAX Realty Group down here in sunny Southwest Florida. Now, we've just had a recent cold snap, but thank goodness that is over. So what we wanted to do today, we're going to call this our December market update. And what we're going to do is kind of share with you some recent articles we've had published in the newspaper. And by the way, you're going to be able to find all these articles right from our website. A lot of good information there. So the first thing I want to cover is how to sell a property in today's market, because that's a question a lot of people have. And in this market, we've got about 60% or so distressed properties in one form or another, either short sales or foreclosures. And in some of our markets, some of our submarkets, it's even higher than that. Some of our markets, it's lower than that. So if you're a normal seller, you want to know, hey, how do I compete with that? And what we've got here, I'll share with you. We've got the article. If you just go to topagent.com, or this is our blog here, blog.topagent.com, you can get to this article and you can read everything I'm going to talk about today. And then you can also read past articles. Now, one of the things I want to talk about today is I'm going to give you this concept of a normal seller versus a distressed seller. Like we said, a distressed seller is someone that needs to sell. Either the home's going into foreclosure or they're upside down on it. They've lost their job, that sort of thing. So I want to give some tips on the normal seller. And the big thing to keep in mind is you are competing. You definitely are competing, but you're competing in a different way. And you don't always have to go down to their level. One of the things is condition. Your condition of your home might be very well kept. And some of these homes can be priced such that, the refrigerator's gone, the air conditioner's gone, the pool's green, black, blue. I've seen some new colors I wasn't aware of in some of these pools. But if you've got a nice clean pool, you're going to price that a little bit differently. It's kind of like maybe you're going out and buying it could be a car, it could be a used appliance. You got garage sale pricing, and then you've got retail store pricing. And, people will pay the difference. So you have to look at that. They're also more interested in a normal sale. I'm going to set this back up. A lot of times they're more interested in normal sale because they don't have to worry about certain things. They don't have to worry about how long is it going to take the bank to decide. There's only one decision maker. I don't have to worry about one bank, two banks, three banks being involved in making the decision on this thing. It could be a first mortgage, a second mortgage, an investor, a loan servicer, all these kinds of things. IRS tax implications. The other thing is, if you're a buyer and you're getting a loan, you may want to lock in your interest rate because rates have been going up. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show, where they are. Rates have been going up, and you want to lock, and they've got what they call usually 30 or 45-day locks. And if you go over that, they price you. It costs you a lot of money to lock over that, so you don't want to miss those deadlines. On a short sale, you don't want to lock until you know you can actually close. And in the last few weeks, our interest rates have gone up over 0.5%. So that could be very costly, let's say. Let's see, what else do you need to know? As a normal seller, you want to keep your eye on the current of the market. Some of our sellers out there, they feel like hey, I need so much out of it. Well, the market doesn't really care what you need out of it. It cares what the market will bear. So but now some of these distress sales are not apples and apples. So a good agent will sit down with you, explain your options, and share with you, hey, this is what the market is for your kind of property. Here's where the distress sales are, and here's how you compete against them. So in a declining market, which we've had here for about 5 years, we've seen evidence that the decline is over in many of the submarkets. But in a declining market, you'd never want to price the market. You would never want to price over the market because then you get caught chasing the market down. So if you've got a $200,000 home and you price it at $210,000, the market goes to $195,000. Now you're $15,000 overpriced. So you're chasing it down, 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 down. You never want to get caught chasing the market down. In a rising market, if you price it ahead of the market will catch you. It won't catch you. It'll run away from you in a declining market. Traditionally, sold comparisons mean more than actives. I don't really care. Let's put it that way. A buyer's not really going to care what the guy down the street's asking for his home. Because a lot of people say, well, Joe's asking $910,000 for a home. Well, Joe might be $500,000 overpriced. Doesn't matter what Joe's asking. Joe ain't getting. So I want to know what Joe's getting, not what he's asking. So sold comparisons are actual evidence of what people are willing to pay for a certain kind of property, not what people are willing to ask. I could take you out to some streets and show you what people are willing to ask, and you'd say to yourself, I'd never pay that. Well, nobody else will either. So that's why solds mean a lot more. It doesn't matter if the market is up, down, or sideways. I get a kick. I hear people talk about, well, the market's up, the market's down, the market's flat. The market's always something, but it doesn't matter. You have to be priced competitively no matter what the market is. If you're overpriced, we had people, believe it or not, back in 2005 that were overpriced. And guess what? They didn't sell back in 2005. We got people in 2010 that are overpriced. And guess what? They're not selling now. Two distinct, very different markets. And in both cases, if you're overpriced, you're not going to sell. You have to price where the market is. So you have to be very lucky if you don't. So that's our tips on how to sell, especially if you're a normal seller and not a distressed seller. Now, I want to give you some tips on buying bank foreclosures in Southwest Florida. And let me switch here. All these tips are going to be found. You go to topagent.com and you can get to them. And we'll scroll up to this one. I'll click on this actual article. This is our tips because we are strong foreclosure agents. We sell a lot of properties for the banks. So people always ask us, or they're very frustrated, say, I've offered on 7 of these things. I haven't gotten any of them. Well, it's because you're not following the rules. We'll say, well, I didn't know there was rules. Well, that's what we're here to tell you. We're here to share with you what some of the rules are. If you know the rules, you can kind of compete. Now, I'm not saying you'll get every single property, but you're going to have a much better chance if you just know the rules. By the way, they're all right here on video. You go to our website, topagent.com, and get to these things, or a blog. You want to clearly state, I'll just go through a few of them here with you. Clearly state all the buyer's names on the contract. Believe it or not, you can't change names later. They do title searches and they do all their stuff, and they're set in stone. They don't let you transfer it into an LLC later. That's one of the biggest problems I see people have. So what will happen is you'll have to close it the first time and redo the paperwork, and it'll probably cost you to get your title work done correctly, more title work and maybe some more doc stamps. You don't want to do that if you can help it. Most banks require pre-approval letter, believe it or not, if you're financing. And in fact, they might require that you talk to one of their own lenders or a specified lender. Make sure you do that. I represent one bank, and if people go to maybe a local community bank, the bank won't even look at the offer. I'm not even allowed to upload it. So if you give me an offer, I have to follow certain rules, and I can't upload it. If I do, I get in trouble. I've got notice in writing, do not upload unless it meets these criteria. So what we do is we put out an information sheet to agents to say, here's everything we need. Now, we might have 20 properties listed. We might have 20 offers on every property. So we don't have time. That's 400 people, 400 offers. If they're all going at once. I don't have time to track down every buyer agent and say, hey, I didn't get this. I didn't get the phone number of the buyer. I didn't get the email address. I didn't get this. We don't have time to track all that down. We tell you what we need, and we tell your agents, if you don't provide this information, your offer will not even be looked at. The bank will never see it because we're not allowed to. So make sure your agent complies with whatever that bank's requirements are. Most agents out there will tell you, here's what we need. So let's see. Clearly state all terms. Read, like VA properties. The seller does not pay doc stamps or title insurance. You have to do that. So don't even offer. If you offer, you're up against the 8 ball to begin with. So you structure your offer in such a way that compensates for that, okay? If you're financing FHA, make sure you have all fees included. Do not submit the offer without all the required documentation. Provide the offer in the required format. Some agents may require it in a PDF format. Some may want it in a Word format or Excel or whatever. Make sure you comply with that. Otherwise, it's invisible to the agent. If it's invisible to the agent, because what will happen is I'll get an offer, and then I have an online sheet where I have to go in and type everything in. I need it here so I can read it in the format we need. Now, but every system is different is what I'm saying. Use an as-is contract. Always look for ways to make your offer stronger. Maybe a quicker closing time, more in escrow, less inspection days. What we're seeing, and the asset managers are onto this, they're saying is, hey, what I'll try to do is I'll tie up this property, and then I haven't even seen it yet, and then I'll use the inspection period to get out of it 20, 15 days later. Well, banks won't take 15-day inspections on cash offers. So you kind of need to know some of the rules. Have your agent call the listing agent. They'll usually tell you. They'll usually tell you straight up. I won't go through every single one here, but I've got 21 of the most common things. And just so you have an idea, always go to topagent.com. You can get to our blog, and you'll have all that right there. The last thing I want to talk to you about is our last article. You'll be able to find this on our blog. Is we called it "It's in the Bag." So I want to give you an update on kind of what's going on in the market, just so you have an idea. And what I'll do here, interest rates, they're on the rise. They've risen 6.625, so 5/8 in the last 2 weeks. So what happens is, if a buyer's interest rate goes up 1%, you lose 9% purchasing power. So we've already lost about half, 5% purchasing power by a buyer. So now the good news is prices are still low on these listings. It's a good time to buy, but buyers are losing purchasing power by the rise in interest rates. So if you're on the fence, I'd get off the fence because rates are going up. Foreclosure listings. We had that moratorium here in Florida and even nationwide. Back in November, we had 768 foreclosure listings on the market. That number shot back up over 300 to 1107, almost 400, simply because the moratorium is expiring. Pending sales, they're on the increase, and they've been rising. So here's a chart on pending sales. They've been rising the last few months. We expect, even though sales right now are flat, and we think when official numbers are released next week by the Association of Realtors and National Association, that they will be flat, at least in Florida, Southwest Florida. We see the pending sales rise. Season has started early. Buyers are coming down. The weather's been frightful up north. So we're tracking the total distress sales. They're going up in Lehigh, down everywhere else. We've got, we track, percent of distress sales in the market. And as you can see, for Lee County, it's been going down every month. So we've got our market's kind of getting stronger. Here's our foreclosures. They've been going down. Short sales have been going down. Here's our current market index. It's down to 4.22. It's as low as it's been for a while. So the lower the index, the hotter the market. Our market is heating up a little bit. Our temperatures are nice down here in Southwest Florida. If you don't live down here in Southwest Florida, you really ought to come check it out. And that's pretty much about it. I think that's been a pretty good overview. To recap, we've talked about how to buy a foreclosure listing. We've talked, if you're a normal seller, how to sell a normal sale and compete in today's market. And we've given you the market indicators for December of 2010. Flat sales, increasing pending sales, foreclosure listings are back up, which is actually healthy for the market. Interest rates are going up. And we think it's important for you to have all this information, kind of know what's going on in the market. I'm Brett Ellis of the Ellis team at RE/MAX Realty Group. You can always reach us at 239-489-4042. Don't forget our website, which is topagent.com. You can search the entire MLS. We've got links to that. You've got our blog. You can read about all what's going on. All this data we have up on here, we provide to you on our blog and on our website, so you can get to all of it. And we'd like to do these video updates as well. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to you staying tuned in the next coming weeks, and we'll provide more data for you. Again, Brett Ellis, topagent.com, RE/MAX Realty Group, down in sunny Southwest Florida, and thanks for tuning in.